Snow drifted across the training yard like tiny shards of glass, carried by the biting December wind. Sergeant Elena Hart stood at attention outside the commanding office, her gloves trembling not from cold, but from the fear she tried so hard to bury. She had missed Christmas 3 years in a row, deployments, emergency call-ins, and a wildfire rescue mission that nearly cost her her life. But this year, her father was in the hospital, asking if she'd come home just this once, and now she had to request something that soldiers rarely dared to ask: permission to leave during the busiest week of base operations. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Elena lifted her hand to knock when the door opened from the inside. Commander Rourke, a man carved from steel and discipline, stared at her with unreadable eyes. She swallowed hard, stepped inside, and explained quietly, honestly, why she needed to go. Her voice didn't shake until she said her father's name. Rourke didn't interrupt. But his silence wasn't comforting. It was judgment, calculation, and a test all at once. When he finally spoke, his tone was low. You know, we're short-staffed. You know others are asking too. She nodded, bracing for rejection. Then he added, more softly than she expected, give me 1 hour. She left unsure whether she'd done the right thing or whether she'd just jeopardized her career. Outside, whispers followed her like cold shadows. Some soldiers thought leaving was weakness. Others envied her courage to even ask. Elena didn't blame them. She had once judged another woman the same way. Life had a way of teaching humility. Her thoughts drifted to her father, the man who taught her how to lace her boots, how to keep moving when the world felt heavy. She remembered how he once said, service is honorable, but don't let it steal the people who give you reasons to serve. She wondered if she'd forgotten that. The base alarm suddenly blared, a malfunction in the underground fuel line. A dangerous one. Fate, as always, refused to wait for her personal life to settle. Soldiers scrambled, boots pounding, orders echoing like thunder. Elena ran with them, training taking over. The leak sparked, igniting a contained but vicious fire. Flames roared through the maintenance chamber like a beast hungry for steel. If the fire reached the second valve, the explosion would tear through half the base. She didn't hesitate. She volunteered to go in. The heat inside was suffocating. Smoke curled through the ducts, stinging her lungs. But she moved with practiced precision, rolling under beams, cutting through clouds of sparks, forcing open a rusted hatch with a grunt. 3 soldiers followed her, trusting her instincts more than their own. They fought like a unit carved from one heartbeat, shutting valves in unison, metal tools ringing against hot steel. Sweat blurred Elena's vision. A moment of doubt flickered. If I die here, he'll spend Christmas alone anyway. But fear sharpened her focus, instead of weakening it. A final surge of teamwork slammed the emergency lever down, suffocating the fire's core. The beast died with a hiss, leaving only the echo of their ragged breathing. When they emerged, covered in soot, the base fell silent. Soldiers who once whispered now stared with a mix of awe and guilt. Even the wind seemed to pause. Commander Rourke approached, his expression unreadable until he handed her a folded paper. Her leave form, approved. She blinked in disbelief. But he wasn't finished. Rourke turned to the assembled soldiers. Sergeant Hart risked her life today. She didn't hesitate to protect this base, even while carrying a burden she didn't any of us. She's going home to see her father. She leaves with this base's respect. Then something extraordinary happened. One soldier straightened, then another, and another. In seconds, the entire base, hundreds of uniforms, stood in a perfect line saluting her. The yard was silent, except for the soft whistle of the winter wind. She had spent years thinking strength meant never asking for help. But in that moment, surrounded by honor she never expected, she finally understood what service was really about. She saluted back, eyes burning. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. As she stepped toward the gate, snow falling gently around her, the same cold wind brushed her face. But this time, it felt warm like a promise. And somewhere in the quiet distance, her father was waiting for her to come home. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments, and subscribe to Whispered Words for more stories that stay with you long after they end.